and welcome to this special broadcast. It is going to be D-Day in Delhi, where 70 seats of the national capital go to polls in this battle for Delhi. It's a high-stakes battle, but more than anything else, it's a battle of prestige. Will the Aam Aadmi Party make a comeback in the sense that they have been governing Delhi for 10 years? Will they be third time lucky? What about the BJP? Remember, BJP has been out of power of the national capital since 1998. So it has been a long vanvas for the BJP. And the Congress, which once upon a time governed Delhi, is also in the running. But the question is, are they only running or are they actually running to win in this battle? We have Kishwar Desai joining me here, Neerja Chaudhary, Aditi Fadnis and Sajjan Kumar. All prominent Delhiites, all have their opinion about Delhi and its politics. We also have reporters joining us this evening. Shreya, who's joining us from Connaught Place. We have Ishika from Delhi University and Nupur joining us from Lajpat Nagar. I'm going to begin with you, Shreya, before I have a word with the panelists who are joining us. What does Delhi look like, particularly at Connaught Place right now? Have Delhiites decided who they will go and cast their votes as polling begins at 7 a.m. tomorrow? Or are there more people who are still to decide which direction they will vote?
Well, of course, I'm coming to you live from Connaught Place and I'm joined by several people here and we will try to gauge the political pulse of the people right ahead of the elections. So, where do you live? What do you think about the upcoming elections tomorrow?
I live in Jangpura, South Delhi, and in my opinion, in my case, I would be, voting for BJP, and Mr. Marwa is a contestant. And I think why I'm voting for BJP, because I feel that AAP has been given enough chance for last 10 years. So it's already tested. Now we need a change. So for that, we are expecting that, we will, go for BJP.
So what are the expectations that you have from BJP? If you vote them to power, then what changes do you think they will be able to bring that Aam Aadmi Party has not been able to address for the last 10 years?
I feel that, that giving free electricity or free water won't help you in the long run, So what we are expecting is, firstly, a good administration and a good infrastructure. That is the two basic things. And I have not seen anybody from AAP party visiting that place for last so many, I would say for last 1 year. So
what about BJP? Did you see any big guns of BJP campaigning there?
Yeah, I saw, yes. Actually, the BJP, MP stays next to our house only.
Okay. But we also saw Mr. Amit Shah campaigning there. Do you think that will have a direct effect on the voters this time?
Yes, definitely. That that shows their, I would say their sincerity and they were, why, they're what you say, they actually want to come into this thing. So that's why we are voting for BJP.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. We also have some other people here. Namaste, sir. कल चुनाव है, दिल्ली असेंबली इलेक्शंस है. क्या लगता है आपको दिल्ली के क्या मुद्दे हैं जो आप दिमाग में रखोगे वोटिंग?
दिल्ली के बाहर के हैं.
अच्छा. Okay. So we also have a lot of people here who are coming from neighboring states in the national capital. Their issues are equally important. But for now, as you just heard from Mr. Ramesh, that he thinks that a change is the need of the hour. They have given a chance to Aam Aadmi Party for the last 10 years. And now people want a change. And this sentiment is something that I personally also felt while reporting across the national capital. People have this belief that if BJP is voted to power, then they will be able to bring about infrastructural developments, which somewhere down the line kind of lacked because of the center and state tug of war while Aam Aadmi Party has been in power. So this is the kind of sentiment that we are getting from CP right now.
All right. Thank you, Shreya. But I would request the other two reporters to continue to be with us. Let me bring in Neerja Chaudhary now. A long, intense, high decibel, bitter campaign for Delhi has ended, and now it is about polling, which will happen tomorrow. Neerja ma'am, as a Delhiite yourself and also someone who has watched politics of Delhi so closely, this election appears to be very different from 2015 to 2020. Why?
I think one reason is that there is disaffection against the Aam Aadmi Party. That was not the case in 2020 or 2015. Of course, it was a sweep. And also sympathy wave, because in 2013, Aam Aadmi Party had got only 28 seats and had to rely on the Congress to form the government. And somewhere people of Delhi, which is the poorer sections as well as the middle class, felt Arvind Kejriwal's hands must not be tied. Let's see him, give him a mandate and see what he does. And then, of course, he went in for the Kejriwal model of development, which we know about, which is schools, mohalla clinics, free bijli pani up to a certain level, free tickets for women in the buses. And the poorer sections today also, whether it's the Jhuggi Jhopri dwellers or others, still swear by him, still are with him. But the middle class that voted for him in the last two elections seems to have turned away for a variety of reasons. Number one, fatigue, 10 years. Let's have a change.
Yes.
Number two, many have bought into this Revdi argument, that the Revdis to the poor are being given at the expense of the middle class. And also many have bought into the argument of a double-engine Sarkar will be more beneficial for Delhi. That means that if the BJP comes back to power in Delhi, the allocation of funding and money will be greater for schemes, and Arvind Kejriwal will be denied this if the BJP is in power at the center. So several arguments, but much will, it will depend on several things. One, how will the women vote?
Yes.
Women have been a solid constituency of Aam Aadmi Party. Now, will a section of the women belonging to the middle classes shift to the BJP? That remains to be seen. So far, they've been solidly with AAP. Number two, how much will the Congress party cut into the votes of what was with the AAP? Will Muslims break? Will Dalits look at Congress? So the revival of the Congress will mean trouble for Kejriwal. So there are many factors in this. But, as we sit here, Delhi is a marvel, You have Parliament behind you, you have Raisina Hill up there. And as a Delhiite, I always feel good when I come to this part. So tomorrow, yes, Delhi is a metaphor for urban governance, and therefore a trendsetter for the future for other states. So everybody is watching what happens tomorrow in Delhi.
So everybody is watching, the voters of Delhi. Aditi Phadnis. Now the question is, Arvind Kejriwal claims, only yesterday, he made a big claim, and that's been part of the political tradition, I would say. He said his party, the Aam Aadmi Party, is winning 55, and if women in particular make that extra push, then they can actually come to the number which they won in 2020, which was 62 of 70 seats. And or even if it is better, then it will be like a landslide, super landslide of 2015 when the Aam Aadmi Party won 67 seats. As a Delhiite yourself, given what we have seen, that there is an anti-incumbency, one. Second, there is aggression of the BJP, which they did previously as well, but there is a renewed energy because the BJP hopes this time that they do have a chance because of anti-incumbency and of course the narrative that they have built around corruption.
Certainly.
Ma'am, Mike.
Sorry. It's a bit discomforting, I have to say, to see that issues of internal democracy, of, this whole business of a coterie running the Aam Aadmi Party does not figure anywhere in the election at all. Similarly, a lot is dependent. People, when they evaluate their choices, they are considering issues of secularism and communalism as well. These are quite important things for a Delhiite. Third, everyday amenities. The metro, whatever the track record of the metro and its ridership and its convenience. That is considered something that the BJP has done for Delhi. But at the same time, this business of free buses for women has been in the past a big game changer. So there is also the fear that if this is taken away from the women, then you need to keep the Aam Aadmi Party in power so that this is not taken away from them. So there are a lot of things which people are evaluating, and I think women are going to vote. Maybe not in such large numbers as Kejriwal is expecting, but certainly they are going to vote quite solidly for Kejriwal.
Yes, Sajan, the BJP has managed to keep its vote share intact, but has always failed to win enough seats, This time around, the party held 22 road shows, multiple rallies across the city. You had Union Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, BJP President JP Nadda, Prime Minister himself, holding multiple rallies, and in fact, they were on the forefront of the campaign. I would say nothing new.
Nothing.
This is the way BJP fights elections.
Yeah.
But tomorrow will be the big challenge if they actually manage to bring voters out. Do you think the elections for Delhi actually hinge on that? Voter turnout.
Yeah, precisely. And what will make tomorrow election polling more interesting is that BJP, which is known for investing heavy organizational input and thereby having the ability to get their voters go and vote, vis-a-vis Congress, their track record always have been super. But tomorrow BJP is also going to meet a challenger who is also known to do heavy homework with serious outreach and committed cadre, So therefore, Aam Aadmi Party, despite 10 years of anti-incumbency, has to be put in league with a party like Trinamool Congress, a party like, I'll say, JMM, wherein you have a strong community connection, household connection. Two, BJP's challenge since the last 25 years has been twofold. One, while it succeeded in retaining its own core vote bank intact, always the lower middle class and the poorer segment, along with minority and Dalits, they tended to favor its rival Congress during Sheila Dikshit's 15-year tenure, and then Aam Aadmi Party. So, to win over not just its core constituency, that is the middle class, and a section of that in assembly elections, be it 15, be it 2020, splitted away from BJP and a section voted for Aam Aadmi Party. So this time, certainly there is a super consolidation of the middle class. That is visible, and that is why we do see that there is a momentum in favor of the BJP, not only because middle class is consolidated, but also because middle class is more vocal. Now the question is that has BJP crossed the Rubicon in terms of appealing to the lower middle class, APL and BPL and poor segments? Now, I think, yes, there is a momentum in favor of BJP of, quantifying and making a quantum jump in terms of its seats. And also Aam Aadmi Party from 62 going to a downward slide. But I will not kind of go to the extent of seeing BJP crossing the 35, 36 mark.
So they're not crossing the magic figure.
In our study, until 5 days back, Aam Aadmi Party is facing anti-incumbency, but still it is above the magic mark.
One question certainly is that is Battle for Delhi going to be decided post-first, when you had the announcement for the middle class, or pre-first? That is the larger question. I'm going to ask that question to you, Neerja Chaudhary. But a word from Kishwar Desai. Thank you so much for your time. We have had multiple conversations during the course of this entire campaign. Both the sides have been relentless in reaching out to multiple sections. But it certainly appears that, particularly for the Aam Aadmi Party, they understand that their constituency or the vote bank is the Jugis, they are the lower middle class, who are the beneficiary class, or the class which has benefited from their welfareism. And hence, they are of the opinion that when it is about the infrastructure, the concerns of New Delhi, or the South Delhi, they should not really indulge. But and let's not forget, Delhi has had multiple issues. In the month of winters, it becomes a gas chamber. During monsoon, there is water logging which leads to deaths. It makes lives of all of us extremely difficult. And then in summers, there is water shortage.
Right. Firstly, I just want to say that I do hope Delhiites will turn out
Vote.
in big numbers. It is the dance of democracy, and I congratulate each and every person in advance, whoever goes out and votes, because this is your city, and the only way you can improve it is to go out and vote, and certainly I'm going to go out and vote tomorrow. Now, you come to this very clear, as you said, an economic divide, as it were, between the voters of the Aam Aadmi Party and the voters of the BJP, the ones who will support them, i.e. the middle class. However, I don't want you to make this into a South Delhi debate. It is not a South Delhi debate. In the areas that, informally that one has been going around in Delhi, I wouldn't say I've done a survey, but certainly people that one meets, one does find that anti-incumbency has become a factor. The other thing, I totally agree with Nirja that the middle class has somewhat bought into the argument of a double engine ki sarkar, because what is happening now on the issue of corruption, that sheen that Aam Aadmi Party had initially, ke anti-corruption hai, ye hai, wo hai, that has been dented in this election, in debate after debate, in whatever the BJP has done, whether it's Sheesh Mahal or otherwise. So that sheen has now gone. Now the middle class is still one section that does care about whether you want clean water, you want, because they're not getting the freebies. They only are looking at developmental issues. However, I do want to say, Maria, it is so strange that we are not today discussing that why would these people win or lose is not on the air, is not about, maybe somewhat on the water issue, because that became a big issue in the last few days. But development covers all of this. So I do want to say that this election for the middle class has become about corruption, anti-corruption moves, whichever party is the one that is the cleanest, giving the cleanest image or promise of a clean government. The second issue, of course, is of development, which is related to the first one. And development, by the way, is also about employment. Because when a city grows, when its infrastructure grows and it develops, it becomes better, automatically things get a boost. Where be it tourism, we will not have these shutdowns. Every now and then, we shut down the whole city because the air is so bad, tourists are scared to come, visitors are scared to come. Those issues will be gone if we have a robust government. Last point I want to make, yes, there has been a sea change where when the Aam Aadmi Party came in and they started looking at issues like health, and issues like, especially for the lower income groups, and that's a very good thing. They brought in the schools, they brought in, despite the fact that we had a wonderful chief minister, nobody can deny it, like Sheila Dikshit, these were the issues which still needed to be addressed, health and education, and they did their very best, okay? But the point is that this is not rocket science. Nobody's going to reverse this. The politics of fear should not be played out right now. Whatever progress has been made in these two will remain, I am certain. The middle class is able to understand that.
So then in that case, Nirja ma'am, the question that I asked, will the battle for Delhi be about, what role do you think the 1st February budget will have on battle for Delhi?
I think it's the final nail, so to speak, in the decision-making processes of the middle class who were anyway thinking of moving towards the BJP this time. And also the anti-incumbency is at the level of the MLA. If the Aam Aadmi Party leadership had changed more MLAs and brought in newer people, they might have done better. But overall, so if you were to look at it, I agree with this. This election is not about Hindu-Muslim in Delhi. This election is not about caste identity in Delhi. This election is about class. It is, are you in a Jhuggi Jhopri area or are you in a gated colony? Much will depend on how you vote tomorrow on those lines, the class lines. And also, yes, for the first time in Delhi, the basic issues have come to the fore. Air you breathe, the water you're going to be drinking.
Yes.
And Kejriwal went to the extent of saying that the BJP government in Haryana conspired to.
Yes, I want to understand from you, do you think that actually backfired? Because that kind of fear-mongering, that the neighboring state chief minister is actually poisoning your water, do you think it backfires? Because here is a chief minister who has been in power for 10 years.
With the supporters of Aam Aadmi Party, it has not been an issue for them. They say, "Aaj hi hum," coming to this program, I was stopping in different constituencies and coming and talking, and they will say that हमको 24 घंटे पानी तो आ रहा है, free पानी आ रहा है, हम लोग जिंदा हैं, हम बीमार नहीं हैं. So that has not cut ice with them. But for the middle class, suddenly, again talking to a middle class family who is still in a dilemma, कैसे vote करना है कल. Why? Because they think if BJP comes to power, they are likely to improve the water situation and the air situation. Because they are not likely to release money to Kejriwal to be able to move on that front. But they also, this person was telling me, I also feel कि Kejriwal के हाथ पैर बांध दिए, is that really fair in a democracy? What the BJP has done. So whether or not they buy the logic of poisoning of water.
The same argument of haath pair bandh diye will continue for another 5 years.
That is what many people...
the multiplicity of agencies that we keep talking about.
And many people will vote transactionally. Voters are voting much more transactionally now. That is also true. But that it was a question mark in this person's mind. कि ये किया है इन्होंने, is that fair in a democracy? So, issue that Aditi talked about, that also is not completely gone to the background.
Okay. Aditi Fadnavis, the impact of budget on Delhi.
To be completely honest, I'm not sure if the budget has had as much of an impact on uncommitted voters. I think people who had decided to vote for Kejriwal or BJP will vote for them anyway. I don't think the budget was a decisive factor. But overall, there is a sense of benevolence, a sense of well-being that अब सांस ले सकते हैं, अब टैक्स उतना नहीं कटेगा जितना पहले कटता था. But Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party is not unaffected. I mean, it's not affected by the budget. His voters are not affected by the budget. His voters are not people who earn 1 lakh rupees a month. So I think it's going to be a very. The commitment-wise, I don't think the budget has had too much impact.
Okay.
On people's movement.
Okay, so let's try and get some voices from the ground. Nupur is joining us from Lajpat Nagar. Nupur, over to you. Get us some voices. What are Delhiites thinking as we wait for, of course, morning when the polling would be held?
So yes, we are at this very famous Ram Laddu shop of Lajpat Nagar, and I have some people who are willing to talk about what they think is how they think Delhi is going to decide. So we'll start from here. So what is your name?
Advocate Pathik Muni.
Where are you from? Where do you live in Delhi?
Not really in Delhi, mainly from Mumbai, but I keep traveling to Delhi for court cases.
Who do you think is coming to power in Delhi next?
I wouldn't want to really comment on the elections per se, because that's to be decided by the public in this democratic setup. However, I would like to address the public with one thing, and which is on Kejriwal ji. He claims to be an educated man. Arvind Kejriwal ji. He claims to be an educated man, but he does not seem to practice and talk like an educated man, and I'll tell you how. He mainly flips and hides information in this era of information. So this is an age of information. That's what we know it as. Okay, and he only flips information and hides information. I'll give you 2 beautiful examples of it. Let me talk about CAG report, right? Now, when he has to talk against any of his opponents or anybody else, okay, he would always claim that CAG report, it needs to be made public immediately. Right?
Do you think CAG report will play a very decisive factor?
It has to. I'll tell you why. Okay. Play a very important part. Okay. Now this. And there is a CAG report pending on Delhi State. Okay. He doesn't want to make it public. At least till the election, he doesn't want to make it public. Now, of course, there is a reason why he doesn't want to make it public, and that is the information available in that. Right. That can be the only reason. Right. Now, this is the flip that I was talking about. Hide, okay? He speaks about Delhi being a profit-making state even after giving out so much as freebies, okay? The truth is that Delhi is a rich state only because of the collections of income tax and the percentage that the state gets from that income tax and not the state taxes, right? So if he can really make it profitable by only drawing on the state taxes, then yes, it makes sense. But what he does is all the companies in India which are registered in Delhi, they pay income tax in Delhi, okay, and they get a percentage of that. Every state gets that, right? They use that money, okay, and to give out freebies. Now, effectively, this flipping as well as the hiding part.
But wait a minute, you said freebies. Freebies, at this point, all the parties have mentioned freebies in their
Who started the
manifesto.
culture?
So you were saying that is it justified for other parties to follow the path?
No party should do that, because development in any region, you could take any company or even a house, okay, or a country, state, anything. Development can only be linked to people working hard and actually making the economy run. Okay, you can't just give things for free. It's not possible. You are ruining everything. Now imagine if I'm going to give you everything free for the next 1 year, you're going to get into that habit. That's exactly what peddlers do. Drug peddlers do this, right? If you look at narcotics cases, maximum people are being given drugs initially for free, and then eventually they start consuming it, right? That's a habit of the anti-social elements of the society and not the government. The government should not look at it. Government should look at supporting, right? Building infrastructure. The same money, if spent on infrastructure, would help everybody, every person of the state, rather than helping only a sect of the state, right? So one has to decide, okay, who you want in power. You want a person who keeps flipping over and hiding information from people, okay, and to claim that, oh, everybody else is doing it. That's not right.
Who do you think, if not him, then who do you think will not do that? What you're complaining
Okay.
about?
I think none of the political parties in this country, at this true sense, are doing that. However, if you look back at 2014 to 2019, Modi did try to do this. Okay. But then he had to give up because everybody else got into this freebie culture. And of course, the population of this country moved towards the freebie culture. So he has to run a business. He is a political party.
We'll come here. We have a person who has been traveling to Delhi, and she is coming from Germany. She has some insights to share about what she thinks about Delhi's politics and what it should roam around.
So yeah, I cannot say much about the parties, but what I can talk about, what I've seen in the last 2-3 days, is definitely the Delhi infrastructure. We have traveled with cars, with rickshaws, with buses, with everything. So I think there's a very long road to go because the roads are not fully developed yet. I think that's something Delhi can definitely work on.
So yes, people are still as we stand in the national capital today, people have different views and people are thinking about the infrastructure, people are looking for transparency, people have their views about CAG reports. That was a big issue in the Delhi elections, and we'll bring you more voices from Lajpat Nagar. Please stay tuned.
All right, Nupur, thank you so much. Let me bring in Ishika as well. And 1.56 crore voters will cast their votes tomorrow. And this voting will be happening across 13,766 polling stations. And in terms of the total voters, 83.76 are men and 72.36 are women as well. So in terms of if we were to look at the voter turnout, a quick data on that. In 2020, during the assembly elections, the voter turnout in Delhi stood at 62.82%, which was lower than 2015, which was seen as a wave election for Arvind Kejriwal. Of course, 2020 was also a wave election. In 2015, it was roughly around 67%. Ishika, come in now. Let's try and listen to people there at Delhi University. What are you sensing? What are they saying? Well, in fact, we come to you from Delhi University, the arts faculty, and certainly it has been a very bustling place because we have, seen these youths, very opinionated youths, who have held numerous protests as well. This is the very spot. So we have, in fact, gathered them today to gauge their, in fact, understanding about the Delhi election campaign by all the three parties. First, I'll be coming to you. You've seen, the election campaign of all the three parties. We have seen that somewhere the freebies yet again have taken a center stage. As a voter, what do you think? That has freebie now become a very, normalcy?
Like you are in Delhi University before us asking our opinion. I hope that you are asking for young opinion of young India. Actually, freebies is not it is not a matter of Delhi only. It is like infested in the politics of the whole India. It is a symbol of churning economic system, and the whole country, all the political parties of this country know very well, and chief ministers, either it be BJP chief minister, Aam Aadmi chief minister, or anyone, they know very well that we do not have something to deliver to youth of this country, something substantial to deliver to the women of this country, something substantial, concrete to deliver to the marginalized section of this community. They actually are providing, like I can say, if I have typhoid, this is like a systemic problem. If the system has typhoid or dengue or something, you'll have to give the basic generic medicines at least. But you are providing only paracetamol. Paracetamol will actually relieve you from what is going on, but it is not the actual solution. It is not actually what is meant to cure the disease. So actually, every chief minister, prime minister, everyone is like wooing 2500 ले लो, ऊँट के मुंह में जीरा, actually I'll call it, कि 2500 ले लो, 5000 ले लो, और रेडी ठेला, ये आलू ले लो, कांदा ले लो. This system is actually ruining everything.
So as you heard, a very, in fact, interesting comment that, if you have typhoid or dengue, the system is not giving you medicines, they are giving you paracetamol. So I'll go across to you also. You are not just a youth, you're also women. We have seen the freebies, that have been promised for the women as well. Now, certainly the netas here, they think that it is, what they are trying to woo the women voters. We have seen very much emphasis being put on women. How do you see this, the tactics of the political parties by giving them financial aid to the women voters?
The first question that comes to my mind when I look at these what I'll say freebies and a choice crisis in front of me means no single party is offering me a different option. If everyone is just giving me money, direct cash transfer only, and they're not giving me any policy, any narrative different. They do not have a different narrative. So the first question that comes to my mind when I look at them is, why are they not offering the same amount to men? Are women so easily wooed that we are only getting 2,500 with no policy narrative, with no long-term impact of these policies? Just because I believe that since, why only women are getting it? Men are also getting it. No, men are not getting it.
No, but I'll also ask you, I'll bring, in fact, I'll try to go here as well. तो सिर्फ महिलाओं के लिए नहीं, यूथ्स के लिए भी हम देख रहे हैं अलग अलग आए हैं. वो कह रहे हैं कि यूनिवर्सिटी की एग्जाम्स के जो फीस हैं वो रीइंबर्स कर देंगे. तो इसे आप कैसे देख रहे हो एज द यूथ ऑफ दिस कंट्री?
मेट्रो कंसेशन की पास बात हुई है, और जो बस है उसकी बात हुई कि वो बस फ्री कर दी जाएगी. तो एज ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ लॉ फैकल्टी, फर्स्ट वी सी द इलेक्शंस ऑफ Delhi on the ground that there is a little change in the politics, because in the all states and at the central level, BJP only plays the card of religion. But in Delhi, he playing with the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress with the freebies. There is no policy.
यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है. You as a voter, आपने देख लिया, तीनों के मैनिफेस्टो देख लिए, लेकिन अब आपके मुद्दे क्या हैं?
देखिए, एज ए स्टूडेंट तो मेरा यही है कि सबसे पहले हम लोग बाहर से आते हैं यहाँ रहने के लिए, तो सबसे जो बड़ी दिक्कत होती है यहाँ रहने की. आप कहीं भी चले जाइए, रहने को लेकर के तो आपको यही होगा ना कि बहुत ज़्यादा रेंट हाई है, इतने सब लोग तो पे नहीं कर पाते, तो गवर्नमेंट को थोड़ा सा इसमें सोचना चाहिए ना कि मनमाने रेंट यहाँ पे लोग ना दें। और मुझे ऐसा भी लगता है कि स्कॉलरशिप जो है वो ज़्यादा बढ़ानी चाहिए। अभी स्कॉलरशिप है लेकिन गवर्नमेंट का ध्यान इसकी तरफ बहुत ही कम है। आप देखें तो हमारे कोर्स या किसी भी फील्ड में साल में आपको 1 से 2 स्कॉलरशिप मिलती है, लेकिन वो इतनी एनफ तो नहीं है ना कि हम पूरी अपनी स्टडी कंप्लीट कर ले। तो एटलीस्ट गवर्नमेंट को इन सब चीज़ों पे ध्यान देना चाहिए। उनका मुद्दा मतलब थोड़ा सा भटक जाता है।
आपके लिए for you, what are the basic issues for you as a voter?
Like my friend was saying that they should increase the width of scholarship scheme and all. The government is like decreasing every year the scholarship for research and research activities. If you are like, I'll be constant on that thing only, malaria and typhoid and paracetamol. Like if you want to really diagnose what is happening in the society, what are the real causes, what is the root of this unemployment, and how can you create more jobs, accommodate youth. We are like largest youth of the world. And how can you accommodate every year millions of students are graduating in India in every field, and you are unable to accommodate them in job sector. They are trying to get higher education, they are not getting it. They are trying to get PhD admissions here, they are limited seats, they are not getting it. They are asking for like a scholarship, you are not giving them. And like कोई भूखा है बहुत ज़्यादा, anyone is hungry, and you कहीं से आए और थोड़ा इलेक्शन से पहले दे दिया कि ये 5 रेवड़ी है, ये खा लो, तो वो भूखा इंसान डिनाई नहीं करेगा. He'll not deny that I'll not take this रेवड़ी. Like this should be a push and pull approach. If you have to uplift the society, if you have to create, you will have to create a new narrative, a better narrative, and it is the responsibility of every political party that they should not go for 2020 or 5-over game. They should see what, like how can we become वो क्या बोलते हैं कौन सा इंडिया, विकसित भारत and digital India and all.
So, you certainly heard here the youths having very strong opinion regarding, the freebies that have been promised by the political parties, and their basic demands remains on the scholarship and the unemployment issue. Over to you. All right, Ishika, thank you so much for getting us all those voices. Sajjan, I'm looking at some statistics here. Across 32 seats where the Aam Aadmi Party's vote share actually fell from 2015 to 2020, the BJP saw its vote share increase in 29 seats, while in 5 seats it was the Congress which saw its vote share increase. So how about discussing Congress? What role do they have in this election?
Yeah, I mean, there are statistically, if you see on the ground,
yes,
it is Congress vote bank, social support base, which en masse shifted to the Aam Aadmi Party.
Yes.
So this is about the poor segments, slums, resettlement camps, unauthorized colonies, Muslim minorities, and also a section of middle class. This is one. Now, for BJP to win, as I said, they need to get something more, or middle class plus. So this plus becomes important. Now their expectation has been that in this election, the Congress is going to add that plus segment, not by transferring the vote to the BJP, but by splitting it away from the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, there are 3 aspects. 1 about the ground situation, 2 the last election statistics, and 3 about how we infer it. Now, ground situation is that on the ground across, I mean, all the constituency, you do find that Congress is considered as a party which is not a serious player.
Okay.
It is a vote spoiler. So even if you are a sympathizer of the Congress, you would not like to vote for a party who you think is not a serious player. So that's a wasting the vote. This is one. Therefore, this election becomes a BJP versus Aam Aadmi Party. Now, if we go by the last election 2020, statistically, Aam Aadmi Party has a nearly 15% lead over the BJP. And therefore, this 15%, the overwhelmingly lead came from 13% Muslims, 4% Sikhs, 1% Christians, and a slight lead from the Hindus, So therefore, we do not expect that without Congress having a serious impact, Aam Aadmi Party is going to lose the 12% lead, which came from the 13% Muslims and 4% Sikhs and 1% Christian community.
So you are saying that In order for BJP to do well, the Congress has to also do well.
Exactly, and something that we do not see happening on the ground, and therefore, in the last 1 week since we completed our study, there is a increasing confidence and clamor among the BJP that they are forming the government, they are winning. But I do not see that what is the extra factor wherein BJP is so confident about not only winning over the middle class, which already was there even before the budget, but also, I mean, having a segment of the lower middle class and the poor segment and the women. One last point.
Yes.
Look, there is a sort of anti-incumbency, but we all know across elections that merely anti-incumbency doesn't mean on its own, anti-vote against the incumbent. For that, you need a very credible alternative. And when we see that this election is based on the class divide,
Yes.
and when it is on the plank of material and the freebies, whether we like it or dislike it, now you cannot defeat BJP on the plank of Hindutva. Similarly, on the plank of freebies, it is difficult, to surpass Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay.
And therefore,
Point
I
well
am
taken.
sticking my neck that still the party is on a downward spiral, but I do not think it will slide before the magic mark.
So I just want to say one point, and that is it also depends on how well you have nurtured that constituency. Like you said, the Muslims, the Sikhs, the Christians, jo Aam Aadmi ki constituency, they used to give them the votes. That is one point. The Indian voter, which you must have seen, is an aspirational voter. आज आप उनको वो डोसा फ्री दे देंगे, कल वो हैमबर्गर मांगेंगे. So it is not necessary that they will stay with you just because you have nurtured them. Maybe you have not nurtured them to the extent that someone else who can become their patron can nurture them. That is one point. The second point is, I think you highly mistake the Muslim vote. It does not move en masse. It itself is divided. It sees an aspirational India on one side. It sees on the other side, हाँ आप हमें फ्रीबी देके नौकरी ना भी मिले पर हमें सारा कुछ हमारे घर में आ जाएगा. वो एक तरह का वोटर है, दूसरी तरह का aspirational वोटर है. और तीसरी बात
लेकिन
ये है,
aspirational voter is not going towards the BJP.
No, I'm just coming to that. So it also depends upon what is on offer for them, So the voter is also rebellious. He's not like thinking कि आज मुझे ये मिला मैं वहीं पे I am going to be stuck there forever. So the point is, when they look at, say, the Purvanchali vote. Now, this was a huge vote, which, was supposed to go towards the Aam Aadmi Party. But in this election, we are finding that the BJP is doing a massive outreach and may also capture. Similarly, they are doing sections. Today, for the first time, I mean, I get a lot of recorded voices, calling me, हाँ जी मैं केजरीवाल बोल रहा हूँ, हाँ जी मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ, and everybody in our home gets the same thing. Today, for the first time, I got not a recorded voice, but a call from a party, which we will not name, and the BJP, okay, I will name them. And they were like, I'm calling you, please go out and vote. They didn't ask for the vote. They just said, you must go out and vote, you must do this, so on and so forth. So those calls are continuing throughout the day. But the personal touch, is also something which the BJP is going all out for. So don't underestimate कि वो सारा en masse हो जाएगा उनकी तरफ. There is a disenchantment, not because they have not been well looked after, but they want more. अब उनको more कौन दे सकता है? वो that will have to come from someone who has bigger bags of money.
Okay, Aditi Fadnis, the question is that this election for Delhi is far more critical than all other elections because, there is a roadmap which is being prepared and talked about by the government. And is Delhi really that showcase city is the larger question because of the challenges that the city is facing in every season.
I think this is the question that many who are not affected so much by incumbency are asking themselves. I'm talking particularly about a category of voter whom we know very little about, which is the first-time voter. Yeah. And we are really not sure what it is that the first-time voter is going to evaluate.
So what is the percentage of first-time voters, Sajjan?
I think it's around 2 to 3%.
2 to 3%.
2 to 3%. Yeah.
So, so this is one category of voter. The second thing is the issue of corruption. I mean, it is so bizarre that the man who launched his party, who launched the movement on the anti-corruption issue, should now be in the tentacles of a very complicated way to skim money off from public schemes. And yet, the people are not talking about, corruption in their everyday life. They are talking about the things that Kejriwal has done for them. But I don't hear taxi drivers or rickshaw drivers or people who run autos talking about the issue of corruption. So his core constituency seems to be unaffected by his incarceration and possibly further incarceration. The big game changer for Kejriwal in 2013 was his decision to step down. I think that was a very major sort of event. And he did it not because he wanted to, but because people were telling him that that's the best thing to do. He had only 28 seats. So,
and a decision which he revisited even right now. I mean, he stepped down again. But this time
he was forced to step down.
Yes, forced to
so
step
he
down,
did not
and then
step
he
down.
got Atishi on his chair. But yes.
So that was an act of renunciation.
Yes.
This is an act of compulsion.
Yes.
Desperation.
That, I think, if he had done that, if he had said, I am never going to be chief minister again, and I will lead you, but I will never hold office, maybe that would have had the kind of impact that it had in 2013 on the fortunes of the BJP, in 2015 actually.
Okay, okay. Neerja Chaudhary?
You know, there is this part of renunciation. Or this election is about Kejriwal.
Yes.
He's the central figure. It's
Yes.
for him, against him.
Yes.
And people who are for him, when you talk about corruption, the liquor scam, they will say corruption किसने नहीं किया, policy में गलती हो गई, सबसे होती तो क्या. They are not ready to give that importance. But and also trust wise, if you ask them, 2500 तो कांग्रेस भी देने वाली है, 2500 तो भाजपा भी देने वाली है to women.
Competitive freebie essentially.
Competitive freebie, and he is going to give 2100. They are more inclined to trust Kejriwal than the other parties. That actually he's delivered ABCD. Therefore, and that also is the poorer sections. Now, I would say overall the BJP has been picking up for a variety of reasons. It had 8 seats last time, so even if it goes up to 24, 300%, he may still be ahead, but that is not good enough. He has to be above 50 to be safe.
Yes.
If he's between 40 and 45, which is what a lot of people are saying internally, people in the Congress, people in the BJP, people in the AAP, then his government may be a sitting duck. And before
But how many seats are you
break
giving
it.
to the Congress party?
Sorry?
How many seats are you giving to the Congress?
People say, I don't know, I can't. But people say, agar ek bhi nahi aati, to we won't be surprised. They may get 1 or 2 or 3.
And what about Kejriwal's own context?
Well, I just went through the constituency.
Yes.
Some say on the BJP Congress side, takkar hai, he may be facing difficulty. But ordinary people say, no, he will make it easily.
Okay, so let's start to the two women.
Precisely. I mean, minus Congress, I still think that, and despite a super consolidation of the middle
for the Juggis.
No. I mean, it's the assembly election, and therefore the material, kind of a politics of anxiety, not a more there. Secondly, this is also important to see that as Neerja ma'am said, that even if there is a 3% rise to, there is a moment compared to 62, it comes down to 4. So yes, for the Aam Aadmi Party, functional point. And then
everybody had almost election. In Visagar, it is Mahayuti which has a chance. So
election is the big idea. What Aam Aadmi Party forms the government, BJP forms a government, what is the big idea? What are they going to do? The one thing that they're going to do that is crucial for Delhi, for its lungs, for its nerves, for its sinews. What is it that they're going to do? That big idea which Aam Aadmi Party was really good at divining in the past elections. So I'm not
the
able to
defining
figure out.
idea of this election.
That's right.
So, perhaps what Neerja said, that this election is about Mr. Kejriwal, whether you're anti him or you're in favor of Mr. Kejriwal.
I think there have been big ideas which have not been there in earlier election. What kind of air are the people of Delhi, the capital of India, going to be breathing? What kind of water are our children going to be drinking? That has come center stage of debate, which has not happened in the past. And I would have liked both sides to have given an action plan. Well, this is what we are going to do. That I agree with Aditi has been missing. But the stakes are very high, not only for Kejriwal. For him, it's an existentialist battle. Suppose he loses, then his party is up for grabs. For the BJP also, it is a very important battle. It's not little Delhi, half a state in the country. For them, if Mr. Modi and his team lose to Kejriwal, who becomes fourth-time chief minister, having won Haryana and Maharashtra, what is the message that goes? They lose to this disruptor, quote unquote.
Yes. And then his position within India bloc also changes.
Then the opposition gets an impetus.
Opposition, the opposition dynamics also depends on this.
That's
everything.
Right.
Fourth time Prime Minister, fourth time Chief Minister, it has a certain ring to it.
Yes, all right. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure all of you plan to go early morning for the voting?
Certainly, yes.
Kishore?
We will be there.
Early morning?
I'm not registered here, so
Yes.
I will not be voting.
Me too, I'm in Gurgaon.
Okay. So, all right. All right. So, thank you so much for your time here on NDTV. With that, it's a wrap from me. And our special broadcast on polling day begins at 7 a.m. So, do tune in. Thanks so much for watching.